Hello everyone, welcome to Australia, welcome to Australian Book Travels, and welcome to our book recommendations for this week. Now, I have to be honest with you, today is, for me, it is Saturday. I'm recording this on Saturday, what is it, the 8th, I think, of February. It will be uploaded for Monday so that you can watch it, as always, our Monday book recommendations. But the reason why I'm recording this on Saturday and not Sunday is because tomorrow I am travelling to Melbourne to visit a girlfriend. Actually, she is an old school friend and we've been keeping in touch over the years. But I think if you've been watching the channel for a little while, I had a school reunion probably mid last year in 2024. And as a result, we all got on so well. It had been so many years since we had all seen each other that we decided we would like to catch up more regularly. And the girls they all caught up late last year. I was unable to go to that, and there were a few who couldn't go as well. But still, there were quite a few who did catch up. Then roll on a few months to now, we're all meant to be catching up again, but there are fewer this time who can catch up because it's just a busy time of year. It's very hot here in Australia, and so people are just saying, well, they have other things that they need to do. But there's about perhaps 5 or so of us who are going to catch up tomorrow at the girlfriend's house who I've been keeping in contact with, or one of the girlfriends. So the other girls. By the way, I did attend a girls' school. In the latter part of my education, I attended a girls' school and I absolutely loved it. It's actually the people I stay in contact with are from that school. I loved it. I love my time there. I love school anyway. I did always enjoy my school years, right from prep through to when I left. But the last few years up to my HSC year were probably the best. I really had a wonderful time. So yes, we've decided to keep in touch. So the one girlfriend, we kept in touch. There were a few of us who remained friends out of school, and when we had our own homes and things, we would visit each other, and we used to go shopping together and go to the movies together and things. And then over time we've sort of drifted, not completely. I've probably drifted away more than from the others. I've lived overseas, I've lived interstate, I've sort of been around, and so my life really I just couldn't keep up. I couldn't keep in contact completely and I couldn't not maintain the friendship, but just maintain that regular friendship. So we all stayed in contact, but the last few years we've really made an effort. I have really made an effort to keep in contact with the group of friends that remained after the school years. But then there are these other girls from the school years that, of course, I just caught up with last year. Does that make sense? Anyway, I'm travelling to Melbourne to do that. And I didn't want you to miss out on the book recommendations. And I didn't want to miss out either. I'm a little bit addicted to giving you these book recommendations and chat. So I just didn't want to miss out. So I thought, I'll do it today. I hope you don't mind. And then you'll see it on Monday. And I hope you've all had a good week. That's really important. And I hope if you've been reading or travelling, I hope you've had a safe journey and good reading. But anyway, let's get into it. There's a little bit more I want to discuss a little later. But now, I was going to draw the winner for the book competition, which is winning the Crew Train by Rose Macaulay and the lovely bookmark from Tea Leaves and Reads in the UK. But because I'm going to be away, I didn't want people to miss out if you were emailing me before Monday. So I've decided to draw it out for another week. So this will not be drawn until, what is it, Monday, what's today, the 8th, 9th, 10th is Monday, and then 7 days. So the 17th or something, I think it is, Monday the 17th. So we won't draw it until then. There are not many of you who have entered. Just remember, it is a free book and free post anywhere in the world. So no cost to you. All you have to do is share the channel, please. Like, subscribe, comment, and email me at austbooktravels@yahoo.com and let me know that you've done all those so that I can check, and then you go in the draw to win this. It's absolutely free. So I just wanted to remind you of that. It's not being drawn Monday today for you, but it's not being drawn on Monday the 10th. We're going to leave it until the 17th. So if you want it, it's absolutely free. Do yourself a favor and submit your entry. That's all you have to do. It's easy. All you have to do is share it, share the channel, like, subscribe, comment, and let me know, email me, let me know that you've done all those things so I can check, and then you're in the draw. Easy, easy peasy. Okay, a couple of really good ones this week. I'm very excited. Oh, everyone. Now you will notice I'm in a little bit of casual wear. I didn't think you'd mind. It has been extremely hot, as you all know. It has cooled down today. And so this is being recorded on Saturday afternoon. It's so much cooler. And I just thought a lovely t-shirt just made me more comfortable. And it's cotton, so I haven't got the fan on. I'm not perspiring. It's lovely. Life is good, everyone. Right, except for these goggles. But anyway, we'll might need a bit more of a clean, I think. Anyway. Well, that's a bit better. I can see you. Okay, the first one is from Echo Publishing. They have sent me this to read, review, and recommend, if I so think. Now, this was actually first published in Great Britain in 2022, and it was first published in here in Australia in 2023. But it has been reprinted many times, and this is the latest. This is Outback by Patricia Wolf, who was brought up in Australia. She spent her childhood here, but she now lives in Berlin, in Germany. So, an interesting, rather than people from Europe coming here and we calling you an Australian author, it's actually the other way. So, what's that? Is that a German Australian or Australian German? It doesn't matter. The fact is, Patricia Wolf, we're counting her as an Australian, even though she now lives in Berlin, and this is Outback. It is set in Australia. Really good. A mystery, murder mystery. Detectives required. Absolutely brilliant. Now this, I'm just reading the back of this because I don't want to forget. This was actually shortlisted for the CWA John Creasy New Blood Dagger Award in 2023. It's Echo Publishing, and it is all up. Without the note from the author, it is 350 pages, 355 or 356 with acknowledgements and a note from the author. We begin with two people. The very, very beginning, it's two Germans, I think they are. Are they Germans? Let me have a look. Yes, they are. That's right. From memory, they're two Germans, backpackers, driving in a bombed-out car in the Outback. Not a good combination. If anybody knows the Outback, that is not a good combination to be driving in a clapped-out car, but they do. And it is the only vehicle that they could afford. And the last thing we hear is that the car breaks down, and a fellow helps or is reluctant to help them get the car started, and that's where we're left off. Then the very first chapter, that's the prologue. The very first chapter is with Detective Sergeant Lucas Walker, I think it is. I'll check that, but it's Detective Sergeant Lucas Walker, I'm positive. Actually, let me see. I'm going to get this for you now so that, yes, it is. Oh, thank goodness I've got a good memory. DS Lucas Walker, and he's visiting an outback town. His grandmother is very unwell. In fact, she's really dying, and but he is then called to find out what happens to these two backpackers. It's really well written. I was hooked right from the beginning, I have to say. Sometimes I can read modern day detective novels, and it's not always a grab me moment right from the beginning, but this was. I was really interested to see right from the very first paragraph where this was going, and it didn't disappoint. It's well written. It's a great mystery. And I really like Lucas Walker. I think, it works well. He's really, I warm to him, and very, very good descriptions of the outback, really good. So Patricia, even though she lives in Berlin, she knows Australia. And I recommend this. Whether you're in Australia or whether you are overseas, if you can get your hands on a copy and you are into murder mysteries or mysteries, then I recommend this. It's really, really good. Even though we're a little bit behind, Echo Publishing did send this to me this last week. I received it this week and I read it immediately. And it was first published in 2023. But they've sent this to me because this is obviously the latest reprint. And I love the cover. I absolutely love the cover. This is very typical Outback Australia with the red dirt and the often blue skies, but that's obviously a storm brewing, which is very poignant in this story. Really good. I recommend it. Get yourself a copy. And it was, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, this was first published in and printed in the UK. So you're going to be able to get it at a decent price rather than having to buy it from Australia. So it is available in the Northern Hemisphere. So that's a win as far as I'm concerned. Now, this next one I read this week, I've had it for a little while. I think I showed it on the channel last year when I purchased it. This is it's a history. It's a story of history or a history of a home, but it's a bit of a memoir, actually, by Gavin Plumley. This is A Home for All Seasons by Gavin Plumley. Now, I think this was actually written in 2023. It was first published, I think, in 2022, in England in 2022. And and this paperback edition was first published in 2023. I picked it up last year in 2024. So Gavin and his partner, Alistair, I think it's Alistair, Yes, it says to Alistair and Toby, who Toby is their dog. Alistair is his husband. Alistair is a headmaster. Gavin is really an historian. Gavin is more of a Londoner, so he's a city boy. Alistair is not. He's more of a country fellow. But they wind up buying a home due to their work, particularly Alistair's work. They find themselves buying a home in Hertfordshire. And it's in Pembridge, in Herefordshire. And this leads Gavin on to finding out the history of the house. And Gavin gives a really good description right from the beginning. He gives a description of how he and Alistair, just a very short description of how he and Alistair got together and how they found themselves looking for a home, which was because their jobs required them. Alistair's job as a headmaster required him to move to Herefordshire. And this is really the story of the house, the home, and the town of Pembridge. Now, through this is a paperback, but through this we do get, probably not as good as the hardcover, I would have to say, but we do get photos that Gavin places in here to show us. Oh, and there's also some lithographs at the beginning of each chapter, but we do get photos. I'll show you of the town, of the little village that they live in, and their home, their old home. So, excuse me. So I enjoyed this. It can, if you're not an avid history buff, but you want a bit of history, this may, I stress the may, be a little dry. And that, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that if you are looking at a novel and you just want very basic history, this is not it. Gavin goes in depth. It is brilliant if you're a history buff like me, and you want to know all the ins and outs of why they had wattle and daub, why they had beams where they had, why they had little inlets in, little cut-ins in the plaster, core balls, all sorts of things. Why did they have a chimney at different stages of history? Of course, because in medieval times, a lot of the very basic homes had the cooking and the chimney in the middle of the home. And of course, they lived with the animals. They lived with their cattle, particularly the poorer. They lived with the cattle in the house. And sometimes that could be with no dividing wall. Sometimes it was with a dividing wall. Sometimes the people lived upstairs and the cattle and horses lived downstairs. So it's all of those things. And Gavin takes you through the steps, because their home has been modified through the centuries. And so he tells you how that modification came about. But in the beginning, it is a struggle for him to find out, because of course, hundreds and hundreds of years, paperwork and documents have been lost. He has to go through parish documents and paintings and all sorts of things to really find out what and where their home began and who owned it and who built it and all that sort of thing. But it also tells you the history of their particular town and the villages, how they had, if any of you know about England or at all, or Europe, but particularly England, each village at one point in time had their own market hall, market stall, where it was undercover and people would barter and, barter for animals. I mean, in the very early days, they even bartered with their wives. They would sell off their wives because wives were considered chattel, of course. So sometimes they were allowed to sell their wives, and shock horror. But that's just the part of the history. It's extremely interesting. But Gavin goes through a lot of what happened in Pembridge. Not so much in other places, but of course it's indicative of a lot of places. So I recommend this. This was published by Atlantic Books, and it is all up with, I'm going to go through acknowledgements and everything, because I think with a book like this, it's really wise for the reader to go through and look at the acknowledgements, because oftentimes the authors give you more of an indication as to why the novel came about and who assisted, and which is really interesting. So this is 324 pages from front to back, and I recommend it. It's a really great read if you're interested in history, English history, old homes, decoration, construction, and the way village life came about. Absolutely brilliant, and I recommend it. Now, okay, now, I wasn't particularly overly enthralled to read this, only because, as you all know, I'm not a big fan to buy a book or to read a book that everyone's raving about. And since I've bought this, people have been raving about it. And so I was a little reluctant. When I did buy it, I was a little reluctant then to read it. Sorry, everyone, I've got a hairy falling into my face. Yeah, so this is the Cicada House. This is by Ella Ward. This is Australian. We begin in the UK and the story leads us to Australia. Now, I don't like to tell you too much about the story, as you know, but this was just brilliant. This was absolutely brilliant. Do yourself a favour and get yourself a copy, because we start off with Caitlin, our protagonist, and it's her birthday. Her husband is away working, and she has some flaws, like as we all do, but she has some real flaws. She's a bit messy, and she's antisocial. It is her birthday, and what I love about this is that we have this flawed character. Ordinarily, I wouldn't like this character because of the fact that she's messy and she's really antisocial. I mean, I'm probably considered, I'm not a big social fan, but this girl is really, really antisocial, like to the point of being rude. But we find out in the first few pages, or maybe the first chapter, we find out subtly, Caitlin thinks back to her childhood and her teenage years and early adulthood, and we find out subtly why she's like she is. And so I found myself warming to her, because I thought, yeah, I understand that. I get it. It wasn't an overt telling you why she was like this. Caitlin was just reminiscing. It's her birthday, as we all do. We reminisce on our birthdays and Christmases. Well, I do, certainly. I don't know if you do, but I do. And so we're subtly informed why she is the way she is. And so I found myself warming to her and thinking, I get that. I understand. And I really like you for that. I will tell you that... No, I won't tell you. What I will tell you is it's her birthday. Her husband's away working. Caitlin is bequeathed a large sum of money. Coincidentally, she finds out on her birthday. It's her 40th birthday. Her husband is away. He contacts her by text message to say happy birthday the day after her birthday. And I will leave it there. That is all I'm going to say. It starts setting up the scene for the rest. This is about grief. It's about loss and grief. It's about grief in a number of ways. It's not just about death. It's a grieving for all sorts of things through your life. It is about self-reflecting. It's about... oh gosh, it's so beautiful. It's about a whole heap of things. She finds herself then traveling to Australia. We'll just leave it at that. And it's about self-love, self-reflection. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. I just don't want to say any more than that. Please do yourself a favour. It is really well written. It is simply written with a certain, not that simple. It's simply written, but it's beautifully written. And it's, I don't know, for me, there was an underlying depth to the writing that, whether it was the story and the way the story was told, there was a depth to it. So as simple as it was to read, it just hit the heart, it hit the mind, it hit the soul. This is brilliant. Do yourself a favour. This is absolutely brilliant. It's released, did I tell you that? It was released 2024, I think, late last year. It's not that, no, It's actually 2025. I thought it was released late last year. No, first published in Gadigal country in Australia in 2025, HarperCollins publisher. So and I love the cover. I love this orange here. I love the cover. There's an orange slice on the back. The whole story will make sense. It's just beautiful. If this is one, I think, you could take away if you were going away on your own somewhere and you just needed time out from life. This is one to read. A weekend, you have a weekend to yourself at home, read it. During the summer, read it. During the winter, cozying up by the fire, read it. It's brilliant. I recommend it. Do yourself a favour, as I always say, and I really mean it. It's just a beautiful book. Now, cooking, baking, sweet making. Sweets as in lollies. And in America, I think you call it candy. This is À la Mère de Famille, and it is by Julien Mercaron. This is actually a sweets shop, a chocolatier in France. It has been around since, I think, the 1760s. Does it say? Yes, established in 1761. This is, now I've had this a couple of years, but I know it's still available. So I do recommend it if you are really into sweet making, sweets as in lollies or candy. This, let me just think, they began in, I did tell you that, didn't I? 1761. Now let me just find this. I know a lot of books, a lot of the cookbooks, they often have their details at the back. Yes. Hardy Grant Books UK, Hardy Grant Books Australia. This was first published by Hachette in 2011, and then this edition was published in 2013. This tells you in centuries and decades. I'll just show you what the chocolatier began, how it began. It gives you a little history of how it began, but then it gives you the recipes that are of that decade or of that century. It's absolutely beautiful. I hope you can see that. It is one of my favorites because, as you know, I do make my own sweets, my own lollies or candy. And this really has helped me. Well, years ago, it really began my journey into chocolate making and sweet making. Not dessert, but sweets. Oh, there aren't, not desserts, but there are cakes and biscuits and slices and things in here too. So it takes you through the different centuries and different decades. I recommend this. It is in English. It is a French chocolatier, but it is, this is in English. And let me see, I think all up, it's quite a heavy book actually. It does, of course, it has your recipe index in the back, but all up with the recipe index, hang on, let me have a look. It is, all up, it is 279 pages. I love the end papers as well. I believe that is the tiles on the floor in the shop. So absolutely beautiful. If any of you have ever been to France, I have spent a little bit of time in France. Mark and I, we love it, or we did love it. We haven't been for a long time, but their cheese shops and their florists in Paris, particularly in the villages too, and their chocolatiers and their all sorts. Their wine bars or wine outlets, alcohol outlets. They're absolutely tiny in Paris. They're just little shops. Obviously, they're very, very old. Beautifully. They have beautiful decor, beautiful tiles, and all of the shops are just, and what we noticed in France too, that each of the shops every morning The shop fronts were changed. They shone. The glass was, shining. Everything was dusted every day. And when we walked around Paris in the evening, you would see the shopkeepers cleaning out the shop windows and redecorating the shop windows for passers-by. It was just beautiful. I don't know what it is like in more recent times, but in the, say, 15 years ago, which is, I know it's a long time, but it was just beautiful. And we spent quite a bit of time there. I also went there in my, when I was very young with my parents, and that was where my love affair with France came about. But yes, the shops are absolutely beautiful, and that was one of the reasons why I bought this years ago, because of the shop and the age of the shop, but also because, of course, I am a big sweets maker. So I recommend that if you are into, or you want to start making sweets, lollies or candy, then this is definitely the book. The recipes ring true, so they bake true or make true. I really liked it. And this one, of course, you have your bookmark. And this is another one that I try to look after as well, because it does have a story about the shop and the decades and the centuries where the shop has changed, or it has, upgraded its produce. So I recommend this one. Cicada House by Ella Ward. Do yourself a favour. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm so lucky to be reading all of these books. I did buy this myself, by the way, but I just think we're so lucky with all of the novels that we have around the world. The authors are beautiful. They obviously have wonderful minds and wonderful stories to tell, and the way that they tell them, it's just out of this world. A Home for All Seasons, bit of a history. Well, it is history, but it's a bit of a memoir as well, because we learn about Gavin and his husband and the town that they live in. It's absolutely beautiful. Outback by Patricia Wolfe, another Australian novel, really good. Page turner, everyone, page turner. Now, don't forget also, if you want to be in the book competition, you have another week to enter. So I'll leave the details in the description box below. So that's it for books this week, everyone. Speaking of the chocolate book, or the sweets book, I have begun, probably this is why I found myself in a t-shirt as well. This last week, I have begun, after many years, years ago, I was really into practicing yoga, really every day. Every day I did a couple of hours of yoga and stretching. I stopped it. Life got in the way. We won't go into that detail, but I've started this week. I don't make New Year's resolutions, so I didn't do that this year, but each year I do try and do something that is out of my comfort zone or that is going to help me health-wise. And so I've decided, because I've been put on this diet by the ENT specialist for my throat, I thought it was a really good opportunity to start exercising. So what I've done this week, I have been sitting in front of the YouTube channel. There are a couple of YouTube channels I really like, and I've been working with stretching exercises for flexibility and strength, balance and all of that sort of thing. Then this morning I went out, and first thing this morning, I had to drive out because we can't actually do a lot of walking around where we are. We're on farmland, and it can be quite dangerous because you have a lot of the hay trucks and things that are on the roads. So I drive to the next village, the next town, and they have a beautiful lake. Around the lake they have a beautiful walking track, and on that walking track they give you, every 100 meters, they give you a marker up to 1,000 meters. So you know when you're walking around the lake that you've walked, once around is 1 kilometer and twice around is 2 kilometers, and so forth. So I did that this morning. I walked 3.5 kilometers. My intention is to do that every day for, well, as many days as I can, maybe not every day, because I do have other commitments, but I'm going to do it as many days as I can, at least 5 days a week, and then each week up it a kilometre until I get to a sensible, maybe 10 kilometres at the most a day, and then when I get to 10 kilometres, I may only do it 3 times a week or something like that. Or perhaps I'll bring it back to 5 kilometres, but I do it 5 days a week, something like that. So I feel really good. I went out for the walk. I came home and had a shower and all that sort of thing, but I do feel much better. I feel really... I've also had a medical intervention as well. I was quite low in a couple of vitamins and minerals. So the doctor has given me some vitamins and minerals, and I've been taking those for the last few weeks. And honestly, everyone, it makes such a difference. It really does. I've been on the minerals and vitamins. I have been, of course, this sort of diet. Well, it is a diet, but it's not a diet to lose weight. It's a diet for my throat. That's sort of helped make me feel a bit better too. And strange enough, because I would have thought that I would be starving hungry, but I'm not. And I'm exercising every day and like stretching, and then now I'm starting to walk. So I feel really, really good. So if you're teetering on the edge of, no, I really don't want to exercise, may I suggest that you do start gently, even if it's just going for a walk. Do it for your own health and do it for your own mental health as well. When I walk around the lake, which I may take you there on a sneaky midweeker, perhaps one day, because the lake is absolutely beautiful. It has all the beautiful wildlife, bird life, and it's 2 lakes in one, actually. You cross the road and you can go into a more natural environment on one of the lakes, but the lake that I walk around has a bitumen path around it that's more stable for your feet, and it has all the wildlife, and it's just beautiful. It really is lovely. And what I did notice, because I did walk around this lake regularly a couple of years ago, and as I say, with the yoga and with the walking, other things got in the way. And then of course the last 18 months I've been working, or the last 15 months or whatever, I've been working on the channel, which has taken up all of my time. But since in the last few years, I've noticed I noticed this morning, the council have put an outdoor gym equipment. So you've got a number of pedaling bikes, stationary, but they're pedaling bikes, a machine that you can motivate yourself, you move yourself and it twists your body. And there's what was the other thing? Oh, and a treadmill. And there are a couple of other little things there, which I thought was really good. And I may actually use those once I've done my 3 laps. I may even just, or perhaps halfway through, I may use a bit of that equipment. I thought that was really good out in the open. It was lovely. So yes, I feel really good. So if you are teetering on the edge of should you or would you or could you exercise, I recommend you do. It's just so much better for you. I was a really big exerciser at one point, as I say, but other things got in the way. And this year I'm determined not to let anything get in the way of that. Even if I, can only do exercises 3 times a week, but no less than that. My minimum goal is 3 times a week, and if I can do more, I definitely will. But yeah, it's been really good. Even in the heat, inside I've had the fan on, and because today was cooler, it's the first day that I've actually gone out to start this walking, and I just feel great. It feels really, really good. So I will let you know as the months go on. I will let you know, because we do have a lot of things for the channel this year, and I'm really excited about that. But I'll let you know how I go with this exercise and this diet. Not that it's not a diet to lose weight, it is a diet for my throat, but I have been told, obviously, I'm going to lose weight. Not a bad thing, everyone, for me. I am much heavier than I used to be. So, and that's because of other things that have happened in my life. I was particularly unwell, as most of you will know, and that took a great toll on me. And I let that go for a while. I let the exercise go, and I let the fact that I was putting on weight, because there were more important things to focus on at that time. But now I'm much, much better, and I'm nearly ready to be ticked off the medical schedule, and which is absolutely fantastic. We will be celebrating that. But yeah, I'm feeling much better, and the exercise is then making me feel even better, and I'll get stronger. So I'm happy about that. I just thought I'd share that with you because we had the chocolate book, and I was thinking, oh, all the chocolates I've eaten, been a bit disastrous. But anyway, and I won't be making chocolate or sweets for a little while, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe, we'll see. I can't resist because I do love sweets, but it's the matter of exercising and getting fit. Anyway, so all right, everyone, I will keep you updated on that. Today is Saturday, but you will be seeing this Monday. I hope you enjoyed the books that were recommended. Don't forget, you've got another week to go for the book recommendation. For the book competition, and we will see you hopefully for the next travel video on Saturday. We hope you enjoy it. Okay, everyone, enjoy. Take care. Look after yourselves. Think about it. If you are not already exercising, perhaps think about joining me in exercising. Perhaps we can keep tabs on each other if you are interested to do that. Anyway, happy reading, safe travels. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.